Dean, thank you for joining us today on the Franchise Marketer podcast. You're my third guest, and I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about this topic because franchisors and people who work in franchising will either hate this term, love it, or don't know what it means, but they know that we're spending it, and that is SEO, so search engine optimization. And you're a bit of a guru in it. Just a bit of a background before Dean. I throw it with you is ex-Megaphone, which is one of the biggest agencies in Australia, ex-King Kong, which is one of the biggest agencies in Australia still. And you're off doing your own thing now with your own business and flying, which is great to hear as well. So you've got a great story around how about you started out how you're doing SEO. So let's start with the story first. And today I just want to get into heaps of actionable insights for people who work in franchise and marketing, because I think SEO, when you allocate the spend, 20 grand, 10 grand a month, you need it, but you don't know what's being done with it and how can you really quantify the ROI and all that sort of stuff. So let's just get into it today. So Dean, first off, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience?
Thanks so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Very exciting it's obviously a topic I love talking about, SEO. And I really appreciate being on this podcast with you today. So look, just being transparent, I started my SEO journey. I sort of fell into it. I think around when I was 18, I've mentioned this story on before, but when I was 18 years old, I had another business. So I had like an entertainment company, and I actually got a call from a marketing agency in Melbourne. I won't name any names. And they promised me the world. And when I was 18 at the time, I didn't have any, parental funding or any investors or anything like that. So I got a cold call from an agency, and they promised me a website and to be on the first page of Google within 3 months' time. And unfortunately, that didn't actually happen. So I actually went down the rabbit hole of learning. 18 at the time, I thought I could do anything, right? You can do anything when you're 18. I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube and, what is SEO and how to market your business online. And yes, I ended up just actually figuring exactly how to do SEO just by YouTubing. It took me about 2 years of YouTubing every single day. And I ended up ranking that particular website first position on first page of Google, of course, and getting a lot of leads for the business. And the business started to grow as a result. And I felt a bit of like an imposter at the time because, there I was like an 18, 20-year-old kid, ranked this website, getting big companies coming to this business like Google, Dropbox, Microsoft, Canva, all these big names contacting this business. And I felt like a bit of an imposter. And I just thought, well, now that I know how to do this, I actually better work at a few digital marketing agencies and put this into practice to sort of validate what I learned. And so I did that. So as you said, I've worked for some of Australia's biggest marketing agencies. I've created teams, I've built departments, I've created a lot of systems and processes, and now I'm running my own company called Results Media.
Now, you've done a lot of good stuff at those agencies. So was your knowledge when you came into an agency to work and you've been doing SEO and self-taught, and all of a sudden you're in an agency? So what was the difference between your understanding and the agency people understanding?
Yeah, so I guess the agency that I first worked for, Digital Next, they're looking for a junior. And it was really funny because at the time I thought I was a junior, but in their eyes, I may have been like a mid to senior because I'd already done the thing that, so they sort of really had a good deal on me, thinking I was a junior. So I guess the question was that, at the time I thought I didn't know a lot, but the agency could see that I had a lot of potential. And I had actually done the thing. I'd ranked the website in the first Google. It was generating a lot of leads. So I think that's what their mentality was at the time.
Now, to people listening to this who maybe work in marketing in your head offices or franchisors, SEO, and a lot of people, they know that's a search engine optimization, but what does that actually mean? So from your perspective, from someone who's been working in it and still works in it for so long, what does that term actually mean? And where is it at in 2025?
Yeah, where is it at? I guess search engines, any place that people can search. At the moment, your big ones are Google, ChatGPT is coming up, so up and coming. And it is basically like how you optimize a website. So there's three main pillars: on page, the content on the website; technical can be like the back end of the website and the speed. You've got off page as well, which is other websites that refer to your website. How you optimize those three pillars so that you show up when people search a particular query, right? So that's basically what search engines are. In my opinion, I feel that search SEO is one of the best channels that you can put your business on. Small business, franchise, whatever it is, because it's intent-based marketing. People have to type in a particular thing that they're looking for, whether it be a question or they're looking for something to be solved right now. I feel like Google and ChatGPT right now is like the only place they can get that sort of clientele, I guess.
Well, what do you think about the developments with AI search and the AI search overviews? Because it's obviously changing how the results are presented to people. It's reducing outbound clicks to the website. And how do you think that's sort of changing your industry at the moment? Because there's a lot of terms being thrown around like AI, SEO and all this sort of stuff, and GEO and everything. And I presume that a lot of marketing agencies is going to capitalize on that sort of ambiguity as well when they go to clients. So what's your thoughts on all that?
I feel like there's two ways like you can look at it. Yes, SEO is changing. The way people are searching is sort of changing, but people are still searching, right? So that in itself is not changing. People are searching. That's not changing. Just where they're searching is changing. They're moving maybe from Google to ChatGPT. That's really the only difference. And this might be sort of controversial to SEOs and AI specialists, but in my opinion, I feel like not much has really changed, right? Because the same practices that I'm performing for Google is actually working in ChatGPT, right? Having really, really good content that's original and having a lot of backlinks, right? So in terms of where I feel that the marketplace is going and where search is going, I feel like people are using ChatGPT for more personalized questions, So if you've got like a question and you want to talk to ChatGPT, like I'm personally using it that way. But I feel like where ChatGPT is not really good at is if you're looking for a plumber or if you're looking for a dentist, it just doesn't make sense to go to ChatGPT and say, give me my local dentist, right? Yeah, I feel like that's where it's really going. But I feel like with the way that ChatGPT is working, it's really good. You might be looking for, I don't know, like you might have sophisticated questions about your health or like finance or something like that, and you want to go back and forth in terms of questions. I feel like that's something that Google can't do, but ChatGPT is doing really, really well.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had a franchisee training set that he researched us by ChatGPT. So we actually asked ChatGPT about, is it a good idea to buy Jibs buying or not? And the great thing about it is obviously it's when you got two variables, you can enable the search in ChatGPT, which will then show you the URLs where it's pulling it from. And then you have the non-one where it's already crawled your site and it's giving an answer based on that. And we compared the two different ones and it was quite interesting to see the difference between what it's crawled and then the one that's pulling from when it searches the web. And when it searches the web, as the AI search overview is doing now with Google, you can see all the different sources there. So one sentence is getting pulled from 6 different sources, which we saw for one of the things about our pay for work guarantee, for example. It pulled 6 different sources and it shows you. So I think having a good website is a foundation with good content and the backlinks absolutely as well. But I was quite amazed to see Reddit being pulled in there for some of the stuff where it was picking up gyms being mentioned on Reddit or some other forums too, and presenting that as a paragraph, for example, or citing that for the paragraph in some of the answers.
Yeah, I feel like it's like with ChatGPT, it's really good if you've just got, I guess, more top of the funnel questions that you're asking. Asking general questions like sort of comparisons. Should I do this or should I for me, I was looking to buy a sauna, right? Should I buy this sauna or should I buy that sauna? But I still do feel that the quality of results are there on Google still. Like you type in best sauna or best, franchise. Google is still giving the highest quality results at this point.
What about the AI search overview? How do you see that? How does it affect your clients actually, or how do you see that? Because that's obviously reducing outbound clicks to sites. I see that in America, they're trying to placate this because there's a lot of court cases going on. So at the moment they have a link, but in America they're actually trialing the branded URL of where it's getting the source from. So
Yeah.
how is that affecting your clients, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, that's really an interesting one. I have a client in like the HR software space, and he's always asking me, hey, why aren't I showing up there? Or why am I showing up there this time and not that time, right? So it is getting a little bit confusing on how to actually be listed on these AI overviews. And I think because it is such a new feature that they've just released or recently released, it's like not quite clear on how we actually rank there. What I'm really seeing through ChatGPT and the AI overviews is the importance of brand. What I'm finding throughout, say, the HR space is big brands being listed on ChatGPT on AI overviews. So if you're a Maya or a Zero or a Bamboo HR, these are big names in the HR space. You're always being listed in the AI overviews, whereas one of the clients that I have is a smaller business, is a small local in Australia. He's not always listed there. So I think AI overviews, ChatGPT, it's really focusing on big brands. And I think in terms of how, like, it's not taking that much real estate away from the search. It is there and it does fold down. I haven't seen like a direct impact in terms of leads and booked appointments from the AI overviews. And I'll be honest, I'm actually not quite sure.
Which is the right answer. Well, I'm not saying it's the right. I think it's the right answer to be, because a lot of people are very sure at the moment. And I've been trying to watch a lot of different things about this, and it's quite interesting to see how certain some people are, and then things change very quickly.
Well, yeah, it's really interesting, and also, I mean, from what I've seen, not all of the AI overviews are trackable, right? Like you can't click them; it's just sort of listed. So it is sort of hard to tell at this stage. Like, is it working? Is it not working? Are people viewing it? Are they not viewing it? And then scrolling down and going through the results. Like personally, I don't use the AI overviews. I feel like it's just at this point, some of them are very generic. But if it does improve, if it gets a lot better, I feel like people will be utilizing that on Google as they are from ChatGPT. Yeah. So, I mean, anything can happen, in the upcoming months, there's going to be a lot that's going to be changing. That's for sure.
So brand mentions is the thing I see. They say, LLMs, get your brand mentioned in different things. And there's a lot of digital agencies are releasing different studies. SEMrush is saying one thing. There's another one that you see apps saying 10% of blogs get cited, and then 30% of blogs get cited, and 10% of Reddit. I don't think anyone knows. And I don't think they can get an accurate reading from it as well. But I have seen some things where a business has started a website, then after 14 days, they're getting mentioned in an LLM, which is quite amazing. But like, if you're a small business now and you're like, all right, you like your client, for example, the HR customer, and then you're like, I want to get mentioned in search, in AI search and ChatGPT and other things. How do you advise them? Or what's the sort of process for a small business to compete or to get in there?
100%. And this is where I feel like old school SEO, SEO practices 10 years ago and today hasn't changed, because what I'm finding, especially with ChatGPT, is that it's just basically citing, ChatGPT is giving a reference to that as well.
Yeah.
There's many articles that your competitors are being mentioned on, and ChatGPT will actually give you that source. Make sure you're referenced on that particular blog or that article, and then you may show up. So in terms of if you're a small local business right now, my main focus is answering as many potential clients' questions as they possibly can. You know that, hey, you're on sales calls and clients asking you questions. Write a blog about that. Write 1,000 to 2,000 word blog about that question that you're being asked. And also use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush. Find out where all your main competitors are being referenced from, and make sure that you're also being referenced from those websites if possible. That's basically the way that you're going to be listed on these search engines. And really it's about building your brand. The old school SEO way of using your exact match anchor text. So if you're a dentist, you don't need to, reference using dentist Melbourne, right? Or Dr. Melbourne. It's really just about using your brand name now, because ChatGPT is looking for the brand name. You can actually see that in search. So just make sure you're utilizing your brand name as much as possible.
So yeah, brand mentions is what I see. So when you say brand name, like let's say there's a dental surgery. Let's say you're right, like it used to be like Dental Melbourne or Best Dental Melbourne or whatever it is, but let's say it's Dr. John Smith. Right. So what's Dr. John Smith's plan of attack to increase brand mentions or get his brand out there or more online?
Yeah. So are we referring to, say, like how to get listed in terms of backlinks, or?
Yeah, let's just say overall. So let's say you've got a dentist client, and his brand is, maybe we'll make up a brand like, I don't know, what would you call it?
Let's say it's like, I don't know. Let's say his name is John's Dentistry, whatever.
John's Dentistry, right? Let's go John's Dentistry, right? So that's the brand. So what should they do with that brand or brand name?
Yeah, exactly. So like for you to be able to be seen on ChatGPT or Google search right now, I'm John's Dentistry. What I want to be doing is, and this might be a little bit technical, so bear with me on this one. You want to use a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs. You want to get all your main competitors. So you might have your top 3 competitors that you know of in your local area, and go export their backlinks and reach out to those websites that are referring your competitors and say, hey, notice that you're referring Bob's Dentistry. I'd love to also be mentioned on your website as well. So really simple. You're just reaching out to as many websites to link back to you. And you just do that in the form of an email, right? It's pretty simple. And yeah, that's pretty much how you do it.
Pretty much it. And also I think, if you can get any digital PR or something like that, if you get a mention in a news story or Daily Mail or something too, which is a really good way to get your name out there, and you can do it quite quickly, by finding a trending story, finding who the journal is on X or LinkedIn, reaching out to them and say, I work in the same field, I think this, blah, 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 blah. And then sometimes you can get a really easy digital win that way as well.
Yeah, I find that, the PR is definitely sort of, I've also been speaking recently to some PR agencies, and I think, and the thing is also, how do we make it natural? Because a lot of these PR agencies, they want, an exchange. They, it's often like a pay to play sort of game. So that also defeats the purpose of what Google says is in its search engine. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like a paid link. So yeah, like I guess you've really got to make this natural, right? So how do you get listed on other websites? It could be through naturally PR,
podcasts, all these sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but realistically, like for a small local business, like it's unlikely, unless you've done a bad procedure, that you're going to be showing up on 9 News or something like that. And so you have to be very, what
I will say, small businesses, to get digital PR on dailymailnews.com.au, get on TikTok. If you do something that's controversial on TikTok, journos get a lot of their stories now from TikTok. Your video will be in there and you'll get a backlink to your website from something that you said for your business. It's a really easy way to do it if you can be controversial enough or have something that gets enough views. So that's what we've done. I've done that a few times with Jim. So it's a good tactic.
Just be careful now. They can always spin the story the wrong way.
They can. We've had that happen to us a few times, but if you want to get that nice link from them, you can get on there via that way as well. But I was going to say, a lot of you said the old school stuff. So I think fundamentals is a big thing in SEO, and I think there's a lot of people who sort of skip that, or they want the latest sort of trend, or there's this new term I was getting thrown about. You mentioned backlinks, which is really important. Everyone says quality backlinks, and there's a process for it. So obviously different agencies might buy a whole bunch of backlinks, or they might do manual outreach. So what should a good SEO agency or SEO consultant be doing from a backlink perspective? And just how important is it to you from your perspective in terms of, out of all the ranking factors, is it for you the number one thing? Or
definitely for me, the number one. And I think the reason why I did mention the PR thing is because I think it's a great method if you can. But sometimes it's not a scalable one and a sustainable one. Yes. It's not like you can also acquire those PR links every single month. You know what I mean? So for me, what I really focus on is actually, so at the moment we're working with one of Australia's biggest like baby toy brands. And we've actually created an email on behalf of the CEO who owns the company, and we're actually outreaching to all the different baby brands, and outside of that. So it might be some of her competitors, it might be like, say, Kmart as well, sells a lot of baby stuff. So in terms of like an SEO agency, and as far as backlinks are concerned, I think it's the number one contributor to rankings, Google rankings, and it's the number one contributor, if you do it right, also to ChatGPT rankings as well, or being listed at least. And best practices, if an SEO agency is just buying backlinks, so they're just going to a bunch of websites that all your competitors have and just is on a pay to play model, that potentially is a red flag, right? Because backlinks, you want to have original backlinks, right? You want to have websites referring to you that your competitors, that they might not be referring to your competitors, right? In terms of an SEO agency, I don't know if a lot of SEO agencies would do that, send emails on behalf of CEOs, but I think it's a really good strategy that not many people are doing at the moment.
So when you say send an email on behalf of the CEO, so you're sending as her email address?
Yeah, so we've actually connected that to a tool called Smartly. You may
Right.
Smartly or Instantly. It's like a cold email tool. And we've just basically got a list of 500 to 1,000 other baby brands or baby toy stores. And we're actually doing like a real life collaboration between them. So a collaborative blog post that's not sponsored.
Okay. So you're just offering basically quick pro quo there for their site in exchange for on theirs. No exchange of money or anything. It's just purely a link exchange, but it's coming from the CEO. So it's not that spammy thing that people might get in their inboxes from some sort of.
That in itself, Joel, is almost like its own mini PR stuff between the two brands, And it's not even just an exchange. It's sort of like we're writing a post for them. They might eventually write a post for us.
Yeah.
It's, just doing like a mini PR exchange. That's how I like to sort of think about it.
Well, it's very smart because I can guarantee if I went around emailing this gym to get backlinks for money or something, I'm sure it'd get a really high take up. So it's a good idea that you've shared there. So with something like that, that's e-commerce. Is that an e-commerce brand mainly you're working with, or?
That one's an e-commerce brand, but I've met across different. The easiest way is if it is a big brand, so like for example, you're doing for gyms, it's very easy because you can literally reach out to any business and they would potentially be interested.
Yeah, I think it's a great tactic. Very smart.
Yeah, where it gets a little bit tricky is if you are like a smaller business, like a local dentist, like not everyone's going to want to just collaborate like that. So you've got to be able to,
So is that for you the most, like that's where good SEO and let's say money, like the money from a good agency should be just allocated to just manual outreach or that, that proper outreach, which is, and providing proper value and creating that relationship that way manually. Like even though you're sending it a mass sort of thing, you still got to manually respond to them. Then it's not you're not using AI in that sort of way. So is that for you like one of probably the highest value fee an SEO agency can do?
At this stage, because, and again, this is really controversial for other SEO experts watching this. They might say like, oh, Dean, like you shouldn't have said that. But AI is also doing a lot of the heavy lifting, right? The on-page work is becoming quite standardized now because of AI, right? If all the SEO agencies now are using AI to do the on-page, then we're all really doing the same thing. So how do you get advantage? Yeah. How do you get a competitive advantage? Doing something like that no agency is doing, sending manual outreach from the CEO to acquire backlinks that nobody else can, right? And then basically Google and ChatGPT will pick that up and go, wow, and then have you listed. So really at this point in the game, as far as SEO and ranking in ChatGPT, you want to be looking for those wins that your competitors and other agencies can't compete with. And that is exactly one that's how we're winning at the moment.
And how is on-page optimization going to change? Because when you see the AI overview, it's a little sentence now. There's a link, there's a sentence, there's another link, there's a sentence, there's another link.
Yeah.
Whereas how's that changing what you do on page? Because obviously there's tools like Surf and all these sorts of things where you can get 3,000 words and all that sort of stuff, and it gives you sort of, red to green, and you need to use more here. So how's that changing from an on-page strategy that you do now, or is it still staying the same?
At this stage, like I used to use a tool called Quora.
Yeah.
I think it was by someone called Ted Kabinas, if I'm not mistaken. And basically what it would do, it was a tool that you could only download on Windows. It's not an online tool. And it would basically extract the top 100 ranking factors in every niche, from headings to metas to keyword density, et cetera, et cetera. And it would align your website and all your competitors. So at this stage, we haven't changed our on-page strategy. So from optimizing your title tags to your meta descriptions to all your headings to having the right keyword density. And again, it's really difficult at this stage to know how the AI is actually picking up particular websites. Is it based on the word count of the website? Is it based on the keyword density? Is it based on the backlinks? It is still very early. The way I see it going, again, just going back to backlinks, I think basically Google and ChatGPT, they're going to be looking for the biggest brands.
Trust signal, yeah.
And they're just going to be looking for trust, because at the end of the day, all the websites that, if you're in HR, I mean, the content on all the HR websites is just going to be talking about them selling HR. If you're selling dentistry, all the websites are going to be the same. So what's going to be that, that difference? It's going to be the backlinks.
Well, the SEM Rush, I don't know if you saw about the AI search stuff, and they said the foremost cited websites in the results were Quora, Reddit, it was LinkedIn, then YouTube. Now, Quora, I don't think it's big here at all. It's more of a Yank US sort of thing. But Reddit I found interesting, and obviously they did a deal with ChatGPT to crawl their thing for like 70 mil or whatever it was. And then you had LinkedIn, which was third, which I think is a big sleeper. And then you had YouTube. So like, should businesses, let's say, for example, would it actually help, do a YouTube channel, post LinkedIn articles, would they post on their website, but post them into LinkedIn as articles? Does that stuff help, or is it a waste of time?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I think I can only say for right now, SEO is still SEO,
Yeah.
content, technical, backlinks. Nothing has changed today, but the way people are talking is that is really going to be changing quickly. As this thing develops, these engines are going to be able to, who knows, potentially watch full-length YouTube videos and extract that.
And I agree with you, Dean. That's what I've been thinking that's going to happen, because you can obviously get the transcript in the video, right? And I think the reason why I've done so much content over the years is I've been thinking that's what's going to happen, where we have that now at the digital gym. So all those videos transcribed by the digital mind thing, and you can access it. But I think the video is underutilized, I think, in an SEO perspective. I don't think I think that's what you said is true. I think they don't have the capacity maybe yet, but I think that's going to come.
Yeah, so I think realistically, this whole thing is going to sort of become, I think the AI search engines are going to look at a brand holistically through YouTube, through Instagram, through Facebook, through Twitter, through Reddit. It's going to find all the sources and then just show up what's the most relevant based on the question. So should you start a YouTube channel? Should you be on Instagram? Should you be on TikTok? Should you be promoting your content on everywhere possible? Of course you should be. That's really the best thing to do at this stage, because we're really like at a place at this stage that like anything can happen.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I think Reddit, Reddit gets cited in these things too, and it's a bit of a frustration if there's someone's had a negative experience about your brand, like that gets pulled up in from Reddit to ChatGPT. But as a brand, though, you can create an account and reply to it, and that's what I've started doing with a lot of the gym stuff, in the anticipation they'll get shown a bit more. But I was going to say as well, you mentioned technical, so people get a bill. How do you break down my time? Backlinks, content writing. Then there's technical SEO, and people just go, they think, it sounds like you must be doing something technical, but what does that actually mean? So what does technical SEO actually
mean? And I think I have to be very cautious here, because with like a smaller business, like I've also worked for the Australian universities, right? And when we're working on the Australian university websites, it's not just like we can go, the SEO people can go on the back end and optimize and do what we want, right? So really technical SEO is depending on the type of business. Say you like a, multi-million-dollar website, it's very hard to get things adjusted and approved and modified. Then your technical SEO almost doesn't exist, right? But if you're just like a local business where you can update your website speed and you can add what's called, schema markup to the back of your website, which gives Google more data about what you do, that's really important as well. If you can if you can optimize the lining of the code on your website, that's important. But it just really depends on the type of business that you are. If you're a big, franchise and, you've got 100 web developers, your technical SEO is pretty much not there. If you're a small business and you can do things quickly and you can make mistakes, then there's a lot more that can be done quickly. But overall, I would just say the biggest impact that I've seen from a technical perspective is the page speed. So how quickly page loads. So from a coding perspective, from a JavaScript perspective, from an image perspective, that's really going to help rank the site. And also from a schema perspective, the amount of, I think it's in JSON LD, the amount of actual information that you give about the page and give about the website, that's more data that Google and ChatGPT can take away. So those are the most standard ones for all businesses. And then you can get a little bit deeper, but I don't think that's probably worthwhile for this particular point.
And that's all good. But it's quite interesting. And I think when obviously people get their bills as content and they're building technical SEO, that an agency will work on in a month. So it's good to know what that is and how that will change per business as well. Now, for people who work in marketing and franchising, and they know SEO is a monthly spend, all right? So how do they, and an ROI, I'm sure you get this question all the time about ROI and SEO, and it's a 12-month game and all that sort of stuff. And I think, I think slowly, in marketing, people are changing their perspective to be a bit more holistic, and it's a bit harder now to attribute where things come from. You've got to, you've got things in 7 places, and knowing what actually influences the decision to purchase or to actually, for us, inquire about a job can be a whole bunch of different things. So with this sort of activity with spend, and how can a marketing manager feel confident in what they're getting from the agency for one? And what can they do? What are some things to look out for, questions to ask?
100%. Yeah. So from a business that generates a lot of revenue in the multi-millions, even hundreds of millions, really like standard practice is really important. It's really important to separate your PPC versus your SEO. Now, I think that's basically like the easiest way to do it. Maybe there is some examples. You could be watching this and you have a website that your PPC and your SEO is on the same website, right? That can also be problematic because, as we all know, Google Analytics attribution, it's not very clear. Facebook ads, attribution's not clear. Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook ads, they have interesting attribution models. So the clearest way is have a separate side for your PPC, have a look at your CRM. Okay, we could probably say this spend equated to this from the PPC side. And then you've got your SEO side, and what is the return off the back of that? That's probably the best way to sort of separate the attributions there. But I guess with SEO, it's because it is a long-term game. So if you're a business that's just starting out SEO, you're not really going to see the value of it in the first 3 to 6 months. You might see the value 12 months down the track, 24 months down the track. And it is sort of gradual. So because with paid ads, you're typically putting $1 in, you're getting $2 out. With SEO, you might be putting in all this money in the first 6 months, but might not see it 12 to 24 months later. It can be a difficult one, and depending on the business type as well, it's definitely a difficult one to sort of track.
And with agencies as well, I'm sure marketing managers always get an SEO audit out the blue from someone, and it shows them a whole bunch of red things from a a tool they've just done and it crawls your site and shows this and that and how bad it is. So what sort of, what do you think is a good SEO relationship with a provider? What are some non-negotiables from your perspective, what you do for your clients, for example?
Yeah. So the best clients that I have that are typically the ones that they know SEO is a long-term game, right? And they're not sort of over-reliant on it, right? And it's really important, like best practices for any business is not to over-rely on one channel. So do a bit of PPC, do a bit of SEO, do a bit of PR, do a bit of email marketing. And yeah, so I think really like that's like the best practice for your business. In terms of sort of like what's the question? Like a relationship between an SEO and a client?
Yeah, like because there's a lot of, I've seen a lot of franchisors who have relationships with agencies and stuff, and there's a different level of standards between what they get told or how the agency treats them. I'm just trying to think, like outline what should a good relationship look like, and not a bad one when it comes to agency.
So another thing we do for all our clients, like, and this might help with people having a good relationship, is there's a type of communication, a frequency, right? So for example, we give a set of deliverables for our clients. So they get X amount of blog posts, they get X amount of technical work done, they get X amount of outreach done, X amount of backlinks. And that keeps a healthy relationship because I've also, and I won't name any names, I've seen agencies that the client's actually not quite sure what it is that they're receiving. That can create a lot of friction in the relationship. So a healthy relationship is really like the client knowing exactly what they're paying for and hopefully seeing the results. We do monthly rank tracking reporting for our clients so they can see, when they started, they had no rankings. When they're 6 months in, these are the rankings, 12 months, these are the rankings. So they not only can see the work that they're receiving, they can see the ranking improve. And then we're also doing analytics based on the traffic, the leads, the booked appointments, and the revenue coming to the business. Depending if it's service-based or e-com, we can have a look inside their CRM system or their Shopify store and see, okay, we've gone from this to this. So that really keeps the healthy relationship between, I guess, an SEO and the client, right?
And with the old guaranteed rankings back in the day. So what's the SEO marketing tool now? So I don't think it's guaranteed page one results, is it, or is it people still running with that?
Like, I think the ranking guarantee has its place, right? But at the end of the day, like, no one can guarantee anything. The old, as you say, like, will guarantee you ranking in 12 months. Those particular keywords are strategically picked because they're easy to rank.
These are ranked for.
And there's not much value if you were to rank for those particular keywords. I just want to be professional and careful in what I say here. So just be questioning if you are in one of those contracts. Think about what are those keywords? What are the search volumes of those keywords? Like, if I do rank for those keywords, will it change my business, right? Sometimes it's actually better to work with an agency that doesn't offer guarantees, because typically the agency that is offering that guarantee, they know they can hit it because it's an easy hit, right? And once they've got it, how will that impact your business?
That's a good point. And the other thing I want to ask about is duplicate content, because that was all the rage 2 years ago. You're going to get punished for duplicate content and all that sort of stuff. And now we're seeing now that it's not really the case. Well, maybe from your perspective, duplicate content and producing content for your site with 100% AI, how does it work from your experience with doing this?
I think I don't worry too much about duplicate content. I'm really worried about keyword cannibalisation, because I've seen on really, really big brands, like multi-million-dollar brands, that they're mentioning the same keyword on every single page, right? And that can really, if you go in the back of Google Search Console, you can see Google flicking for one particular query, it's flicking from page to page to page to page to page, and the rankings will fluctuate as a result of that. So duplicate content, not so much. Like, At the moment, we're writing all our client content with a really comprehensive AI script, and then we have an Australian content writer proofread that and proof edit that. We're seeing amazing results for that. So I don't think it's the actual duplicate content, as you say, and the AI content that's even an issue. But what's still an issue in the space is that keyword cannibalisation, meaning that the same keyword is being mentioned throughout a website and Google doesn't know where to place that keyword.
The AI content's okay. You've done, and you want someone to edit, obviously. And then the reason why I asked duplicate context, a lot of businesses will do the whole, best plumber in Newport, best plumber in Yarraville, and the content on the page is it's only basically changed for that one keyword or of the time. And always there's a lot of fear about, programmatic SEO and getting punished and all that sort of stuff as well. So, so you're saying it's not really an issue from what you've seen?
From what I've seen, and I'm still friends with some of the guys that do a lot of black hat stuff. So I don't do black hat stuff anymore, but when I started, that's how I got into it. So they're still running those tests, right? So I'm only saying it from experience that I'm seeing it still working. You can do some of that black hat stuff, but think about being a big brand, right? Like you don't want to be doing those strategies, right? Say if you're like the gym's brand, like it doesn't make sense for you to have duplicate content anyway. You probably have resources to make each page unique anyway. So follow the guidelines, follow the best practice, right? Each page, make it original, make it interesting, provide value to the readers. You don't need to, you don't need to take shortcuts or anything.
And doing the AI content for a blog, like is that you obviously still doing your keyword research and all those sorts of things? Are you using a tool for that, or are you using directly like Claude or ChatGPT, or how do you do that?
Yes, the way we do keyword research is I think how most, or maybe not most agencies would do it. We would just essentially come up with a topic that our clients would ask, or say if I'm a particular business, if I'm servicing one of my clients, I'd ask my client, what sort of questions do your clients ask about your business, and would write all those topics. And then we actually manually Google those searches and find competitors that may have already written blogs, and then we extract the keywords from their websites, right? So that's how we find keywords that are relevant to the blogs that we're going to write. That's basic keyword research. And then what we're really doing is to make the content original is we are getting our clients to give their perspective or send us voice messages back, and they would answer that. And then we turn it and we put it into ChatGPT to make it original.
Very smart. That's good. And it takes a lot. No, I think that's a really good thing. I think I do a lot of voice notes myself, and I convert them into LinkedIn posts and stuff. So I think those voice notes and making it easy for your business owner is really beneficial, and it's original content. Even though it's using AI to do it, it's original content because it's
So any business, right? Like think about what's the best way for you to serve your clients. Like this is what AI and SEO and all this stuff is about. What is the best way for you to serve your client on search? Think about the questions that they're asking you. Send your SEO people a voicemail of, hey, answer that question, get them to rewrite it as a blog, and then post it. And then,
it's a great little product almost in a way. You could just have that as a service, just, AI personal blog or whatever you want to call it, and send in their notes, and you get it converted into a nice blog article and do some outreach.
Yeah, but you'd definitely be surprised, Joel, like that there are still SEO agencies that are just throwing up random blog posts. Like, we've been taking on some clients now that the agency is still, even today, just writing random blog posts with no reason for the blog, and the keyword research, just posting blogs for the sake of it, right? So really, like if you're in a business, think about how can I serve my potential clients? That's by answering their questions, giving them as much value on your website as possible. And that's only going to happen is out of through you giving your agency those questions, those answers, and letting the agency turning it into an SEO thing. Yeah.
I think it's really good. And I was going to say as well, tech stack. So if you're going to start a new website from scratch, for example, is it WordPress, no page builders, you're using WP optimize? What's the tech stack or the ideal tech stack?
I'm the worst for this to ask. I mean, you're now just you clicks one button and a whole business is created. I'll give you my perspective and I'll tell you why, and then maybe you should, because you're really good at this. The AI thing, actually. So from my perspective, we're still using page builders because from a client's perspective, like if they want to go in and edit the page, they just want to be able to just do it very simply. And we're using, for service-based businesses, best tech stack right now, WordPress, Elementor, Yoast SEO, WP Rocket with Go High Level.
Yep, to go high levels in CRM.
Best tech stack. And then for e-commerce, Shopify.
Yeah,
that's simple as
that's it. Yeah.
Then what would you say?
No, I think WordPress is a thing. We've had many times before companies trying to approach us with a whole different CMS. And I think we've done it in the past before with the custom CMS, and they just locked us into that agency. It was a nightmare. So for me, keep it simple with WordPress. It's interesting how web developers are anti-page builders. So, Elementor and stuff, they're really anti that. So they're very much try and keep it as lightweight as possible.
I would definitely, I would disagree there because
I'm glad to hear this because it's good to hear.
Yeah, because you have to think about it from like a practicality perspective.
Yeah.
Right. From my perspective, again, I've worked with the Australian universities. These are people investing a lot of money into their SEO and their paid advertising. They're using CMSs built like old Drupal websites that haven't been upgraded in like 10 years, and it's still ranking, right? And they're still pumping SEO at it. So the thing is, like, it's really important to think about it. Like, page builders are really good because remember how we just spoke about our client relationships, Joe? SEO, web developer, client. How do we have a perfect relationship? A page builder, right? As soon as you start doing custom this, custom that, then the client's going to have to pay extra for the developer to figure this out, and then extra time for the SEO, and then everybody's unhappy. So super important that you're on a page builder. Everybody get on Elementor. I don't just a referral link or anything like that. I don't have anything like that. But
so it doesn't affect speed or anything, because that's the thing where developers always go, if you use Elementor, it slows the site down, it slows it down. So from a speed or from an SEO perspective, does it matter at all? Or?
SEO is relative. So from a speed perspective, Joel, if you have an Elementor website and I have an Elementor website and Bon have an Elementor website, then we all have Elementor websites. So if you're in an industry that it's super, super competitive, that everyone's competing on speed and everyone is using a custom CMS, then I would consider that, But if I'm doing landscaping or dentistry or whatever, podiatry or anything like that, and everybody's using Elementor, then it's relative, right? So the whole thing is relative.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear. And yeah, look, for me, I use Rank Math. I use Yoast Rank Math I like, and I use WP Optimize internally. But look, now I think with website creation, you can use something like Bolt or Replit, but I think Bolt and Lovable are the two where you can just basically create something in Figma or a sketch on a piece of paper and upload it, and you get something that's all right. It'll take you probably multiple prompts to get it to something that's functioning okay. But I think Lovable and Bolt's probably the best in terms of building a website from scratch, just with prompts, and then you can deploy it, within Bolt, and you can have a functioning website. But there's a lot of people starting to do that now, which you can sort of notice. So they're building their prototype website on there, and then getting someone to actually do it in the real world. But I think Bolt for me is probably the one that's the most easiest for a non-tech person or a non-code to build a functioning website.
The only issue is with me, like a friend mentioned to me that more simple that you can keep something, the better it's going to be, right? So the issue with all these tools is that if you stack this tool on top of that tool and you alternate this and this and that, then you end up just getting so confused by the tools and this. And for me, it's like, use a page builder website, keep it simple, stupid, serve your potential clients the best way you can. You've got to show up on search, right? And whilst I agree with what you're saying, those tools can make your life easier. Given in the wrong person's hands, everything will get really confusing. So,
Well, I do think, from looking into those things, there's a whole bunch of courses and things people can do, but it's a lot more involved than just a simple prompt to get something that actually works. You need to have a breakdown block by block and be really ultra specific with your prompts. And if you're not, you're going to be frustrated and spend a lot of money on credits trying to get it right. But that's great to hear. So Elementor, CMS, is there any particular types of themes you like or recommend that you think convert really well from traffic? Or
like, are you saying like themes, like
WordPress themes? Everyone's always buying a lot of WordPress themes, and this theme's better than this one. So I'm just interested to hear from your perspective from working with so many clients.
like the thing is, like the way we build the sites now is like Elementor's the theme, right? Like this.
So you customize, you do it with all the blocks and stuff.
We're doing that for all clients at the moment. It's doing super well.
So when you say that, you're doing web design from scratch with Elementor with blocks.
100%. We've rebuilt one of Australia's like top 5 women's fashion brands and in all the Westfields.
Right.
We've just rebuilt. So basically, they had they didn't migrate their website from one country to another. I won't give the full details, but we have actually rebuilt their whole Shopify for the purpose of getting this particular country re-indexed on Google on WordPress, Elementor. So that's been an interesting experience. But yeah, like honestly, to keep it simple, just use Elementor. Like because it's suitable for anyone.
I'm glad to hear that, because our web devs would be the complete opposite internally, and they've been telling me that for years. When I started trying to make my own things with Elementor and stuff, no, real bad, slow. So it's good to hear.
But I'll be honest with you, I don't know one web developer who likes me.
Very, very true. I was going to say as well, next 2 years, how much do you see it changing in terms of search? Because, local SEO as well, Google Business Profiles we haven't even spoken about, but I think that's really, really important now. And you've got local service ads in America that have been going for a while. They haven't come here yet. So in the 2 years or 3 years time, where do you see Google's going to be? Because if you see on the SEM Rush sort of studies about where people are searching, you can see the LLMs creeping up, and there's a cross section around 2028 where they say they think the LLMs are going to be people searching more within that directly than Google. But where do you think it's actually going to end up?
Yeah, this is really interesting because little things have happened in the last few months, like Shopify integrating with ChatGPT. That's I think about that. So I have to say this in a way that I feel that local SEO is becoming, it's not dead, as they say, but it's becoming very difficult.
And when you say local SEO, can you explain what you mean by that?
Local plumbers, local business. Gym mine, right? And local, just like if you just if you're a one-man band, let's say, it's getting really difficult. If you're a local electrician, local plumber, business, getting very difficult.
I'll go back now.
Let's continue.
A local plumber is really, really difficult because it just, from my perspective, let's say 5 years ago, you could buy like an exact match domain like bestplumber.newport.com or something, and you could start showing up pretty quick. But you're saying sort of.
You want to ask me that question again? I think we should chop it there because I froze.
Yeah, cool. So local SEO, which is a term that we throw around a lot with franchisees now because the Google Business Profile shows up a lot. We have a lot of franchisees who have a successful, really good, well-reviewed Google Business Profile, get a lot of leads via that. So the term local SEO as well, I think it's a bit confusing as well. So what to you is local SEO? Yeah. And what does it mean for the small person who hears this term and says, I've got to do SEO? What does it mean for them?
Yeah, so as I like to say, I think local SEO is getting very difficult. So if you're a local electrician, local plumber, one-man band sort of business, I'm finding it very difficult because it's becoming the barrier to entry is becoming more and more, right? Back in the day, you could spend $500 a month on your SEO, right? But now that's really becoming difficult. Now it's $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 just to get in and compete on the first page. I think that is because the algorithm is getting more sophisticated now. Back in the day, you could just build a new website, point some basic backlinks to it, and you'd be showing up on the first page. It is becoming really difficult now to do that. I'm currently working with 4 international brands in the baby space, HR space, fashion space. And basically, we're having a lot of success with bigger brands. We're able to answer a lot of top of the funnel questions because the brands that I'm working for already have a massive profile. Anything that I post or anything that I optimize, typically it gets ranked on the first page very quickly. And we're getting a lot of traffic, a lot of rankings because of that. So where is SEO and AI going for local business? I think that the interesting thing for, say, as an example, what's happened, Shopify's integrated with ChatGPT. I think people will now start to go away from Google and know that ChatGPT can compare products now, right? It has all Shopify's products integrated within it. And if you ask a question, compare this product with that product, I don't think Google's going to be able to give you as good as a result as ChatGPT because everything's integrating with it.
Yep.
So I think that's where it's going. But look, that could change with Google. Google might throw out a new product where it's able to do that. Right now, Google's gone with, I think it's got like an AI. It's got its own AI.
AI search in America. Yeah, they've got a new one over there. They're rolling out. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen that here in Australia yet. So yeah, it's very hard to say, but that's where I think it's going. I think for local business, yeah, it's getting very difficult to compete.
Well, for me, I think your local business, I think that the asset you've got to build up is the Google business profile. Because I think that's something you can control and you can get shown in that 3-pack of maps.
Yep.
All the time, consistently, if you've got reviews on there. And then if you've got some Google ads running as well, you can appear at the top there. And then have maybe a simple 5-page website just for, some trust factors. You're not with no expectation of ever going to rank it. As long as you've got your Google business profile there and your Google ads and most of social media stuff as well. Yeah. I think that's the sort of new way people need to go from that perspective.
A really good example is I just took on a lady in Sydney. She sells engagement rings.
Yeah.
And because she's like a one-man band, the issue is that she's also competing with
massive jewelers.
Yeah, she's competing with massive jewelers, right? And this is where it doesn't make sense, right? This is where it's getting really confusing in terms of SEO, right? If you're a one-man band, you're selling engagement rings, but you're competing against big players. I actually told her, stop your SEO. Let's do Google ads and Facebook ads. With the budget that I think she had a $1,500 budget.
Yeah.
She's competing with people that are spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on their SEO. I just said, look, this is never going to happen. Your SEO is going to take too long. You need cash flow coming to the business now. Forget the SEO. I'm even telling people, as an SEO who's been doing this for 5-10 years now, I'm telling people not to do SEO.
Well, I'm big on social search. I think social search, people going there to, how to do something on TikTok and on YouTube, I think is a big thing. And for someone like a jeweler, for example, you could build up a massive following on Instagram or TikTok and have a bit of a unique angle, just reviewing rings or doing that. I think you can get a lot of traction that way, and it all sort of interplays with, getting those brand mentions and things like that too. But that's good you did that, because out of a $1,500 spend, I know there's obviously not much money to play there. And it's good to hear that, Dean, because I know we've seen some news articles in news.com.au where agencies have charged someone $50,000 for SEO to a plumber when they probably needed that in Google ads, but they've been convinced to do SEO. So what do you think about that? Because I see those stories occasionally. I'm sure you do, and it must really annoy you because it sort of blackens the industry.
Yeah, I had a friend who told me about a story like that one.
Mm.
And look, I just think I think be careful, right? If you're any sort of business and who your competitors are, and you're well educated within your business and your competitors, and the person who you're working with or the agency that you're working with is convincing you to do SEO, but they're not exactly sure, or they can't even give you a forecast or some sort of estimation or any confidence as to when you're going to get a return, then don't do it, right? At least I said to this particular client, I said, look, you've already been doing SEO with this other agency for 6 months. You've spent $1,500 a month. You haven't brought in $1 back, right? I said, I can do your SEO. I can continue with you on this trajectory, but I'm going to tell you right now, like we're not going anywhere with this, right? It's just far too difficult. Why don't we just turn this around and put that budget in paid ads and build up, and then come back to the SEO. Yeah.
Yeah. We just got a bit more money to reinvest into that part of the business. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. I don't think SEO is going anywhere. I just think, how we're showing up in different things and how people are searching is changing. I do remember back in the day, you probably remember it too, voice. Everyone's going to search by voice by 2025, or 50% of searches will be by voice by 2025. And everyone's saying, optimize your site for voice search and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's always these big panic moments, and it never ends up being as full on as it is. But I would say that I think Google basically with that algorithm update tanking all the niche sites and stuff and taking those people's income overnight and then rolling out all the AI stuff they've done so quickly. I think it's probably the biggest change, let's say, over the 20 years. Is that the case for you? Is this the biggest time of change from a search perspective from what you've seen?
Yeah.
Because it would have been Panda, Penguin updates and stuff, and everyone's losing their mind and these things are coming up. But do you think this is the biggest sort of change you've seen in the industry?
Right now, like today, no. I personally feel nothing has really changed right now. Like it's not a significant change that things have gone crazy, that Google's dead, Google SEO is dead. It's not there yet, right? Are we heading there? Potentially. This could be in the next year. And this is also what I explained to that particular client. I said, this could be that Google, as we know, Google SEO top 10 listings no longer exist. It could get to that point, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even using, as someone who used to use Google for everything, I'm only using ChatGPT for my question and answers, right? So yeah, this really could, as of today, no, but in the next 12, 24, months, Google, as we know it, SEO could really, it could be dead. But we've been saying that. Here's the problem, Joel. We've been saying SEO is dead for the last 10 years. Every update we say SEO is dead, SEO is dead, SEO is dead. So this is one of those things, right? We could keep on saying SEO is no more. There's no point of doing Google SEO anymore. But we keep on saying that. We've kept on saying that for the last 10 years now. But we're still here today. So I still have a job, which is a good thing.
Well, do you think the term's going to change to AI search optimization? Do you think it's going to be always SEO, or do you think it's going to start the actual terms change? So you see GEO, you see LLM optimization, expert, all that stuff.
LLM, it's just another way for these marketing agencies to sell you on something new. So just if you're a business now and you're hearing all these terms and all this LLM, GEO, AI, it's all just noise. It's all just noise. Remember, all you have to remember is three pillars: content on your website, how fast your website loads and ducks up the backend data on your website, and the amount of backlinks that point to your website. That is the foundation for all search engines. Doesn't matter LLMs, GEO. I don't even know how, Joel, I'll be honest with you. I don't even know half those terms, but I don't even care anymore because it's all just noise. All it is the agencies. Like I'll keep it. I just want to make this one point, Joel. I'm even seeing now people on LinkedIn writing these random terms, LLMs, AI, this and that in their LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
And it's a new product that they've come up with to upsell their clients who are already paying them high retainers anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying, isn't it? This buzzword, it's sort of like, feels like SEO back 12, 15 years ago when, back in 2012 or 2011, like it's a new thing and people really capitalize on that ambiguity around it, but knowing that we need to do this. So.
But think about it from a local, like any business, right? They don't care LLMs, AI. They're thinking panda, penguin, like who's a panda, who's a penguin, like,
yeah.
This is all just in my and SEOs are going to hate me for this. This is all just noise. This is all just marketing for SEOs to stay relevant and to try and sell the client on the next thing to keep their jobs, right? From my perspective, I'm doing the same thing right now. Good content, good backlinks, helping the clients with technical, but also keeping it real. If I have to use Elementor, I'm going to use Elementor. I'm not going to try and sell you on a custom website just because I want to lock you into a contract.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, I think what you said is good to remember ourselves with, if you're a business, still get your website up, get a good website, good content, get some good links, get some good SEO. Plus you've got all these other options now to be discovered, with social search and with doing LinkedIn articles or YouTube or going on podcasts, digital PR. You've got all these extra avenues to sort of get those brand mentions to be visible online with your brand beyond a website, which I think is a good thing. So your website, I sort of view it as that's my central home base that I want to really have a solid foundation in. Then I've got all these extra secondary things where I can start appearing. It's all going to help build the strength of that foundation of the business.
Yeah, I think like the best thing, if you're considering SEO right now, do it. But just like all other channels, right? Know that Facebook could become irrelevant tomorrow. Google could vanish tomorrow, right? Like, don't rely on one channel. Like, do everything for your business. We've already discussed this multiple times in the podcast. Like, all channels are relevant. All channels are equal. Some might provide a better return at particular times than others, right? So don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially with SEO and with the landscape that we're in. Know that it's a changing landscape. Invest in it, but invest cautiously, if you like.
Well, I think Rand Fishkin, I like his blog and the zero-click marketing sort of term he coins, and he says chase influence or beat influence over clicks. And I think that's a good way to look at it, because so much marketing is about ROI to finance and attribution and this and that, and I just think it's getting harder and harder to do attribution for what we do anyway. If you're doing a PPC campaign, e-commerce, you can ROAS, all that sort of stuff, you can work out a bit easier, but it's becoming, there's a lot more pieces now in it, and you've got to be sort of everywhere as much as you can. But it all starts with good foundational SEO from your website. That's where your first point of call should be. Then everything else will come from there, and you'll start showing up in LLMs and all those sorts of things.
All those buzzwords, man.
That's it, all those buzzwords. But I was going to say, Dean, what's your business? And so you give us a plug, and I can put the link in the description.
Yeah, guys, if you'd like to learn more, obviously you can Google my name, Dean Grana. I own a company called Results Media. Got some stuff on YouTube. I'm working on some downloadables. Check me on LinkedIn. I'm posting every day.
A big LinkedIn presence now, mate. We're influence on LinkedIn. You start doing personal branding LinkedIn. So
that's my next thing job. LLMs for LinkedIn, right? Well, I'll come up with some buzzword for you.
But I was going to say, it's good that because a lot of people listening to this had used SEO agencies before, and you, like me, if you used the BAC in the past, getting a new account manager introducing themselves every 4 to 3 months. So I prefer, using smaller people like yourself, because I'm dealing with the owner of the business, and then obviously if your team, you can service it. But end of the day, you're the face and the front of the business who they can get onto. And I think that's massively important. Doesn't matter if you're a big client or not. I think having consistency in who you're dealing with, and dealing with the owner of the business who probably cares a lot more than an account manager is the way to go.
Yeah, we've got another podcast on that. Should you hire an agency or hire a freelancer?
I've had that question, but I think we leave it for another one. All right. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.